The Shroud of Turin, one of the most intriguing and controversial items in religious and scientific history, has captivated people worldwide for centuries. Some believe this 4.4-by-1.1- meter linen cloth is Jesus Christ's burial shroud. The cloth shows the faint but distinct image of a man who looks to have suffered physical torment, with crucifixion-like wounds on his wrists, feet, side, and head. This disturbing and noteworthy image has sparked innumerable studies, inquiries, and arguments about its legitimacy and origins. The shroud's mystery lies in its image and its essence. The shroud's picture is ingrained in the linen threads, unlike paintings and photography, which apply pigment to the fabric. The image shows almost photographic detail, including bloodstains, bruises, and scars from a horrific assault and crucifixion. Many wonder how such a detailed image was generated and where it came from. The image seems paradoxical. Despite being made without pigment, dye, or painting, the image is sharp and clear, according to scientific analyses. Its image-making procedures are unusual, raising doubts about its operations. How the image was formed on the fabric remains one of the most puzzling riddles in religious and scientific circles. Historical journey and shroud. First appearances. The Shroud of Turin's origin and history are unknown. The cloth has been in Turin, Italy since 1578, but it first appeared around 1355. Knight Geoffroy de Charny showed it in Lire, France. Charny received the shroud in an unknown manner, and no direct records link it to Christ or his crucifixion. However, the shroud may have traveled through several hands before joining the House of Savoy collection, which preserved it for public viewing. The shroud's early history was controversial. Many Christians venerated it as a passion relic. Some instantly questioned its legitimacy and called it a fabrication. The church was cautious at the time, and while the shroud was often presented for public devotion, it was not always declared Christ's burial shroud. This ambiguity over the shroud's origins and authenticity has persisted. The 1532 fire was one of several dangers the shroud endured. This incident scorched a section of the cloth, leaving dark scorched scars and water stains. Still, the shroud was restored and kept. A 2002 repair cleaned and restored the shroud's fabric, after centuries of abuse and degradation. Scientific research and carbon-14 dating debate. Carbon-14 dating of a shroud sample in 1988 was a major event in its modern history. This dating method uses radioactive carbon isotopes to establish a sample's age. 3 laboratories at Oxford, Zurich, and Arizona found that the shroud dates from 1260–1390 CE. This put the shroud's genesis in the Middle Ages, saying it was a fake meant to fool people into thinking it was Jesus Christ's burial garment. Carbon-14 dating was largely accepted, and many believed the shroud was not Jesus's burial shroud. Several researchers now dispute the carbon-14 testing results. Critics say the testing sample was from a corner mended after the 1532 fire, and not indicative of the cloth. The restoration technique may have tainted the fabric, skewing carbon dating readings. The shroud's decades of environmental conditions, smoke and other impurities, may have caused erroneous carbon-14 tests. Some scholars argue that carbon dating does not explain for a miraculous shroud formation. A prevalent theory is that the shroud's image was generated by energy or radiation, maybe at Jesus's resurrection, which changed the cloth and prevented standard dating methods from detecting it. Shroud image and mysteries. The shroud image remains intriguing despite the carbon dating dispute. The fabric depicts a man who has been severely beaten and crucified, with wounds compatible with the New Testament descriptions of Jesus' passion. A massive cut in his side, wounded hands and feet, and scalp markings resemble a crown of thorns. The image's intricacies match historical crucifixion stories and seem beyond medieval artists' abilities. Several visual elements are intriguing. For one, the image looks three-dimensional. The Shroud of Turin Research Project, STURP, examined the cloth in 1978 using ultraviolet light and X-rays. The shroud image appeared to have three-dimensional information, which traditional art cannot explain. A VP8 image analyzer created by NASA to examine space probe photos showed the shroud's three-dimensional appearance best. The machine showed that the shroud's image was not flat, but had depth information, as if encoded in the fabric. Medieval art and photography cannot create this three-dimensionality. Compression marks are absent from the shroud. When enveloped in a cloth, the human weight compresses the fabric, leaving markings. The back of the figure represented on the shroud does not indicate compression. Some scholars believe this means the body was not flat on a surface when the image was generated, raising doubts about how it was formed. Other scientific research and theories. Numerous scientific investigations and experiments have attempted to explain the shroud's origins. In 2013, a team of experts identified high limestone levels in the shroud's dust particles, compatible with ancient Jerusalem particles. The Holy Land may have produced the shroud, according to this discovery. Some believe that the shroud's image was created by an energy burst or radiation at Christ's resurrection, leaving a permanent imprint. Bloodstains on the shroud have also been questioned. Studying the shroud's unusual type AB blood, researchers found that it matches ancient Mediterranean blood samples. This discovery has prompted some to believe the shroud is a Christ-era relic, although many historians disagree. The Shroud of Turin has been one of the most studied and enigmatic items. Its authenticity as Jesus Christ's burial shroud is still debated. Some claim it is a medieval fabrication. Even though its origin is unknown, the shroud's image and secrets attract people worldwide. The Shroud of Turin, whether miraculous or medieval, symbolizes faith, mystery, and curiosity. Mystery and fascination surround the Shroud of Turin, an antique cloth that some think depicts the figure of Jesus Christ. Religious and scientific societies have interpreted the cloth's marks and pictures differently. The wounds on the shroud match Roman crucifixion methods. The nails appear to have been driven through the wrists, not the palms. Modern medical theory says that if the nails had gone through the hands, the body's weight would have ruptured the skin, making crucifixion unreliable. Instead, wrist piercing would have supported the body better during crucifixion. A deep, elongated chest wound matches the biblical description of a spear plunged into the flesh, verifying the tale. The image's skull bloodstains reveal sharp instrument puncture wounds. These discoveries are significant because they match Christian scripture's account of Christ's passion. Despite the shroud's marks being compared to religious scripture's wounds, these results are based on scientific study, not theology. The Islamic view of the Shroud of Turin is very different. The Quran clearly states that Prophet Isa was not crucified or killed. According to Surah An-Nisa 4:157, they did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but it was made to appear so to them. This contradicts Christian beliefs. The verse from the Quran is essential to Islamic belief that the crucifixion was a myth. Prophet Isa was taken up to Allah and will return before judgment, according to Islamic tradition. No matter whether the Shroud of Turin supports the crucifixion, this is a key Islamic belief. Muslims believe Prophet Isa's fate as described in the Quran is unquestionable, regardless of historical evidence. The Shroud of Turin has no religious authority for Muslims. It may be interesting as a historical relic or a Jesus artifact, but it does not prove divine truth or religious claims. However, as one of the most mysterious relics in human history, the shroud has prompted intense scientific research. Despite several investigations, no one has been able to reproduce the image on cloth using modern materials and procedures. Scientific knowledge of how the image was produced remains elusive. Whether the shroud is a medieval counterfeit, a burial garment misinterpreted over time, or an elaborate fake, no one knows how the image got on the fabric. This riddle puts the Shroud of Turin at the intersection of science and history, making it unsolvable. The shroud fascinates both religious and scientifically curious people, regardless of its origins or purpose. The shroud's ability to puzzle the greatest scientists and historians is remarkable. Researchers have tried many methods to duplicate the image or find its origin, but none have succeeded. Some believe it is a medieval ploy from a time when science was scarce. Others think it's a real artifact, possibly from Jesus' time. Still, some believe it is a sophisticated hoax designed to fool people into believing it has religious significance. Regardless, the shroud is more than a religious artifact. It shows humanity's ambition to understand its past, technology's boundaries, and history's riddles. Thus, the Shroud of Turin is a fascinating historical and scientific puzzle, not just a religious relic or sign of divine intervention. It raises fundamental problems regarding religious artifacts and their durability. It may not be considered proof of Islamic theological principles, but it is a significant element of human history that fascinates historians, scientists, and laypeople. It reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge, religious, scientific, or historical, often leads us into uncharted area where the answers we seek are not always apparent. Thanks for viewing and investigating the Shroud of Turin mystery with us. If this topic interests you, like, comment, and share below. Do you think it's Jesus' burial shroud or a medieval creation? Subscribe for more intriguing stuff. We appreciate your support and will see you in the upcoming video.